You're listening to Out of the Box with Rosie Tran. Out of the Box is sponsored by hugmetees.com. Spread love, give a hug, hugmetees.com. Guys, we're now on SoundCloud. Check us out at soundcloud.com/outoftheboxpodcast. And as always, we're on Stitcher and iTunes. Subscribe, click on the follow button, leave positive comments. We love it. We get excited when you guys do that stuff. I am so excited today to have my first altcoin guest. Guys, I am here today with Crypto Cayce. How are you?
Thank you for having me on the show, Rosie. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here.
How
are you doing today?
I am so excited to have you because I've been wanting to talk about Bitcoins and altcoins, and I actually know a little bit, but I started doing some research on you and some of the podcasts that you've been on. It sounds like you guys are talking Greek to me. I'm totally clueless.
Yeah, I can hear that for sure.
So this might be a little bit more of a basic episode compared to some of the podcasts you've been on.
Sounds great. I love talking beginner stuff because a lot of this Bitcoin stuff, a lot of cryptocurrency stuff really goes over people's heads. You know, it's a lot of tech jargon. It's a lot of intimidating numbers and stuff. So yeah, I'm happy to be the noob liaison, if you will.
So I'm a basic crypto supporter. You know, I have Bitcoins. I buy a little every month, and I used to mine. My husband actually has a miner going in our bedroom, which is very romantic.
Wow. Most definitely is.
And we have
keeps you warm.
It is. And we have another miner going for Litecoins, and we also buy other coins. We don't have any pink coins yet, but. So I talk about this with a lot of people, and I would say 90% of the people that I talk to still don't really understand what cryptocurrencies are, what alt currencies are. So maybe you can explain it in a way that they do get it, because I'll tell people and they just think maybe Bitcoin is a fad, or like I said, most of the people I talk to are still completely clueless.
Okay, well, let me give you like the basic summation as
like
easy as I possibly can. Yeah, the dumbed down version.
For the listeners who might not know what cryptocurrencies are.
Yeah, so basically Bitcoin and all other cryptocurrencies are a virtual peer-to-peer currency that's decentralized, meaning that there's no central server that can be hacked or taken down to seize assets or steal your funds, essentially. There are millions of people just like yourself who have miners in their basement, in their bedroom, whatever it may be, who are
guys put it in your basement because it's loud and annoying.
Yeah, and it gets hot too. If you got an old school one, it gets kind of hot. And so what those miners are doing, people like yourself, is you are exchanging your computing power. And when I'm saying computing power, it's not like a regular computer. Although there are some FB, or I don't even know the terminology, like GPU miners. That's what it is. But most of them are they're like just specialized pieces of equipment that have one sole purpose, and that's to solve this complex mathematical equation that the Bitcoin network gives out, which by solving this equation, you're verifying the authenticity of all the transactions that have come across the network, which is termed the blockchain. And
so basically, let's explain it. So maybe some people who are like, what the heck are they talking about? So the computer program, this is like kindergarten talk, guys. It's solving the problem, and then once it gets solved, it verifies, and then you get a Bitcoin or part of a Bitcoin or part of a coin. Is that correct?
That's very correct. Okay. Yeah.
I know. I found you through my friend David Seaman. I was a guest on his podcast as well, and you guys kind of started going off. And I know David is a huge, altcoin advocate. So I followed a little bit, but then I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask you like literally Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and altcoin 101 questions, because I haven't had a guest yet talk about it. And like I said, a lot of people are still like, what? Bitcoin what? It's been in the news a little bit. More and more, and uh-oh, did I lose you?
No, I think yeah, for a minute.
Okay,
so
for a minute.
I got muted.
Stop muting things. I thought crypto guys were supposed to be good with technology.
Nah, I guess so. Supposed to be.
So it's supposed to be. So so there's a lot of unknowns still because it's not completely mainstream. I mean, if you buy Bitcoins and sell Bitcoins or altcoins, Pink Coin, there's Doggy Coin, all these different coins out there, there's no taxation system for it yet, right? Like you're not taxed on it?
That's correct to an extent. I think in March 25th, the IRS ruled that Bitcoin was not seen as currency; it was seen as property. So it's kind of taxed just like property is. So only when you realize profits do you have to declare any sort of taxation with it. So
What about the other
uh,
coins? Is it the same thing?
I think they kind of ruled as an all-encompassing thing that all alternative currencies and virtual currencies are kind of under the same rule, from my understanding. Although I'm not the foremost authority, I'm just kind of a guy who does his research. I'm not claiming to know everything. This is just my understanding of it.
So what about people who cashed out before the IRS rolled this? Do they just have all this like untaxed money?
Yeah, I guess it's a pretty big gray area. So I'm not familiar with that because I didn't
Oh, that would
I
be
didn't
so
really get into the
awesome.
crypto game until 2013. But yeah, I'm sure there's some people who kind of think that that's the case, and I'm sure there's other people who were very honest and started declaring early and paid taxes on it. But I think there's a large gray area that you can kind of get away with some stuff.
That's cool. So you originally started as a professional poker player.
Yeah, I've been a professional poker player for about 8 years now, I guess. I started off playing online poker, just for fun while I was recovering from a knee surgery. I've been an athlete my entire life. I played a lot of sports in high school. I played college basketball, and I ruined my knee in like 2005, and I started playing online poker as a way to like have a competitive outlet. Instead of physical competition, it was mental competition. So I realized there was some strategy involved, and after I recovered and got out of my painkiller induced coma, I started I started reading up on it on the forums, started talking to friends, started watching videos from some of these sites that offered it, and got pretty good, and just kind of used it to support myself while in college. And just I really liked it. I graduated from college, got my master's degree, my MBA, and just kind of decided to shelve that and play poker for a living, and started traveling. Once the U.S. government deemed that online poker or online gaming in America was no longer a legitimate thing to do, they came and swooped in through the FBI and shut down the three largest sites, and which were Full Tilt Poker, PokerStars, and Ultimate Bet, and they seized all the assets immediately.
So
And then
did you weren't affected by that, right? Because you're
oh,
just playing. You're just playing, or you were.
no, I was affected definitely because I've been playing for a living. That's how I made my money. Not only through playing, but I was coaching people one on one and in group settings. I was backing players, meaning I was sponsoring their buy-ins for 50% of their profit. And so all of my
That's a
streams of
good
income,
deal.
yeah, it's pretty cool. But there was risk involved, obviously. But so all of my streams of income kind of just seized up overnight without any sort of forewarning. And then all the assets, all the money I had on those sites was also seized instantly. And so I think, yeah,
No.
so myself, much like all my friends, had like 90 to 95% of our net worth online because it just made more sense since we were putting it in play. We needed to be liquid. We didn't really feel the need to pull it out and get taxed on it. So we kept all of our assets online, all of our money online. And so I think within 2 weeks, PokerStars, which is the biggest site, reached a deal with the Department of Justice and kept U.S. players out, but we were able to pay them back. And then Full Tilt Poker and Ultimate Bet did not. They took them, I guess, 3.5 years before Full Tilt reached a deal, and they just started paying their players back in March of this year. And they have like a bunch of phases or waves of repayment, and they're, I think, in phase 2 or 3 right now. So they're slowly repaying players, and then Ultimate Bet just shit the bed and is done and is not going to be repaid back at all. And so with that, I saw like how the government could come in and swoop in and steal or seize servers, and with it all the money due to the centralized nature of it. And around like 2 or 3 months later, I saw this Bitcoin poker site that was advertising to U.S. players called Seals with Clubs, and I started looking into Bitcoin. I was like, "What is this? How is this legal? How can you play poker online in America and advertise?" And so I started paying attention to Bitcoin. I think they were like $1.80 or $2 a Bitcoin at the time, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And so I started doing my research and trying to acquire some. And it took Are you there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, yeah. My Skype is just freaking out, saying my internet connection problems. But so I started paying attention, and I realized that the only way you could buy them was through these exchanges online, and the only thing they would accept was a wire transfer. And I'm sure you know that wire transfers are expensive. They cost like $30 or $40 or $50 depending on your bank, and to send them out and then also to receive them, it charges a fee. So I was only going to mess around with a couple $100s. I didn't feel like transferring or wiring funds to some offshore entity and paying a $30 to $50 fee was feasible or even smart. So I didn't buy. I kind of hung out on the sidelines for a little while and watched this thing go up, 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 up. And
Yeah, when it was $1.82.
yeah. And so like I think like 2 weeks later or a month later, I started looking at it again. It was like $4 or $5, and I was like, "Fuck, I missed the boat." Like shit, I could have got like my couple $100s would have been like X amount of Bitcoin. Now it's like half that. Like, no, I'm good. I'm not gonna buy into this. And I kept doing that like every couple months. Like shit, what the fuck? Like damn it. And so finally,
At
and
least
plus like
you were looking at it when it was like $2. I was looking at it when it was like $30, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
yeah, at a certain point, you're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna jump right in feet first. But my biggest hang up was I didn't want to wire money to like some offshore company that I couldn't trust or couldn't do research on that was nameless. And so I guess around November 2013, there was a website, lighttree.com, that allowed you to transfer instantly with Bank of America. And another thing with the wire is like it takes a couple of days to register. So, and plus with the volatility, it's like you never know what you're going to buy in at. And so I like the idea of being able to transfer directly with Bank of America and be able to get the money virtually instantly and buy in. And so I did that on lighttree.com, and I bought a bunch of Litecoin. And within 2.5 weeks, I want to say, Litecoin had went 13 times in value. So I bought in at like 370, I think was my average buy-in, and then it went up to like $47 or something absurd. And I sold it around 45.
Was this at the same time that there was the Bitcoin spike up to
Yes.
5 or 600? I think.
No, it was even higher. I think it wasn't it like 1100, 1200.
It went up to 600 and lurked around there for a while. That was the first big spike, and then there was a Bitcoin mania, and it went up to 11 or 1200, I think. And then it
I think that was December. Yeah, I think you're right. I think December was when it really went nuts on Bitcoin, and I think November was when it went up to like 600. So yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to Bitcoin at the time because I was holding Litecoin, and so I sold.
You're like, come on, Litecoin.
Well, I wasn't really paying attention, honestly. I was like, oh, this is cool. This will get me a way into the cryptocurrency world. And so I sold it all, and then I started dabbling in altcoins. I started going to mintpal.com and bittrex.com and Polyonics and all of these alternative currency exchanges, and started kind of realizing that there was a way to make profit, to day trade, and to speculate a little bit. And I kind of got not lost, but I kind of found a new outlet, something that I enjoyed, and and I've been kind of trading. I wouldn't say I'm trading so much anymore. I'm more investing these days. But yeah, I saw this new avenue for decentralized currencies because of my experience with online poker and how it just was able to get like seized immediately with no forewarning, and all of your assets just caught up. I really dug the decentralized nature of cryptocurrencies and was very sold on it pretty much from day one. Once I got my first Litecoin and was able to have complete autonomy and control over my assets without any entity telling me I couldn't or risking seizure. And so I really liked the whole everything about it, the whole industry as a whole.
I like it. I like it because there's a lot of freedom with it, and I noticed that people that are altcoin people tend to be more open-minded than more traditional thinking people. Do you find that people that are into altcoins and cryptocurrencies tend to be more alternative thinkers?
Oh, without a doubt. I think a lot of people who are in the alternative currency space are free thinkers. They're people that have kind of been jaded by the system in some way, have been kind of pushed out by banking systems, or they're just taxed to death, or not taxed to death, but feed to death. I don't know about your banking experience, but I get charge a lot of fees. My bank is among. I deal with Bank of Hawaii, and because I'm out here in Hawaii, and they're the #1 bank in America from a profitability standpoint. Yeah, because I mean, from a profitability standpoint, which they market and brag about, but if you think about it logistically, like that money's coming from somewhere, and it's generally their customers. And so every month, I'm getting a maintenance fee that they try to like squeeze in there. I'm getting like ATM fees if I use any of their ATM bank. I get all sorts of like random fees just accruing and accruing, and I'm like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? I didn't sign on for this, you know? And so I've just been kind of jaded by the banking systems. And I think a lot of people that are in the cryptocurrency space have a similar experience where they've said enough is enough. I'm tired of it. They want the autonomy and control and the freedom that it brings. And a lot of these people are kind of free thinkers. Like they're into spirituality, I want to say,
That's
as an
it.
all-encompassing
No,
word. As an
it's so
all-encompassing
true.
word, yeah, they're a lot. They're very aligned with their with the things they believe in and the things that that they know to be true, I guess. And
Well,
so yeah, you have a lot of these people with oh, go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was going to say what I notice is just there's one of the positives about the fact that everything is online and there's so much freedom and there's so much creative people involved with it is that the older establishment seems to have not caught up. I mean, it's pretty unregulated, and I think it's because the government is like. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but the IRS and parts of the government don't even have email yet. This is a true thing. Parts of our government, the U.S. government, does not even have email.
I did not
I
know
had,
that.
it's crazy. I think California, some of the government entities don't even have email yet. I had a $700 tax, like the IRS was claiming that I owed $700. In the end, it wasn't true, and I ended up fighting it and getting a tax attorney, and everything was resolved. But I would try to contact someone at the IRS, and they have these 1-800 numbers, and you call and you get put in a queue, and there's like no email. I'm like, well, can I just send this information over email? They're like, we don't have email. I'm like, you guys don't have email? And I think it was like a big controversy a couple months ago, but there was a couple like senators and governors and other people who didn't even have an email address. So I think that that's a good thing right now for the crypto world, is that the old school establishment, literally old school establishment, has not caught up and figured everything out yet, because some of these people don't even have a freaking email address.
Yeah, and like you said, that like old school is the perfect word because a lot of these people are old. Like let's be honest, they're like 50 to 70-year-old white males, and they're just clueless as to
They're
what the
totally
fuck is going on
clueless.
in the real world. Like I mean, the real world to them is just politics and just I guess golf luncheons
But
and a
that's
lot
good
of
for the
like
crypto
backdoor.
world.
Oh, for sure, without a doubt, it's super good. We're way ahead of the curve. And I think a lot of it is intimidation too. Like they don't really understand the technology behind it, and they never will. Let's face it, because they're just so out of touch with technology and the reality of the capabilities of and the freedoms that it provides, of what the internet provides and what cryptocurrency provides, and they're just intimidated by getting into it. And so I think they're just kind of waiting on the sidelines, hoping shit dies, and doing whatever they can through like taking the big players down, like the Silk Road or whatever it may be, and just hoping that's enough to kind of push people away. And I
And
think
also spreading a lot of false rumors. There's I always hear, anytime I hear cryptocurrency mentioned in the mainstream media, they're talking about criminals using it, drug dealers, all this other stuff, which may or may not be true, but that seems to be the emphasis of it, not the positive qualities of cryptocurrency. I
well, I
hear
mean,
I hear a lot of like
mainstream. Go
murder,
ahead.
like, oh, cryptocurrency is used to fund murder.
Yeah, I mean, mainstream media is all about shock and awe, right? They don't want to ever put anything out there that's like positive and uplifting. It's all about like how can we make people just shit their pants? Like what's the scariest thing we could say? Oh my God, you're funding pedophilia and drug trafficking and cartels. Like, yeah, that's a part of the U.S. dollar too. I mean, that should every currency does that. Like, come on, let's be real about
Actually,
it.
they did a study on the US dollar, and they did what is it called? I don't know. They like DNA testing, and they said the average dollar has remnants of cocaine, blood, and they named all this other really disgusting stuff and the
Yeah,
percentages. So I'm pretty sure the US dollar is funding a lot of illegal activities. And
yeah,
actually, I had on my podcast, as the listeners know, early as a guest, HSBC whistleblower Everett Stern, who said that a lot of the big corporate banks were funding terrorism, and the U.S. government knew about it, and they didn't do anything about it. So, to say, well, cryptocurrency is funding terrorism, well, so are giant corporate Wall Street banks.
Here's something interesting about that. When the U.S. government took down online poker, they in 2000 that was in 2011 in April. In 2006, in October 31st, Senator Bill Frist slapped a part of this must-pass port security bill, what was called the UIGEA, the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act, which made funding online gaming with U.S. banks illegal. And there was no, it was the 24th hour. No one knew about it until the next day when it already passed into law. And so from that time in 2006, from when they shut down the online poker in 2011, the U.S. government, mainly the FBI, had been operating as one of the largest payment processors in online gaming. They set themselves up as a payment processor, and they were processing all these payments and going out and finding banks to handle these payment processors. And then once they felt like they had enough information, enough dirt on these people, they took it all down from the inside. So there was a bank in Utah, this little mom and pop bank that was that I guess had been solicited by this payment processor that the U.S. government had been, and they were like at the forefront, and they got fucked harder than anybody. So yeah, the U.S. government is funding terrorism and funding all the illegal activities that are going on, and making it a big deal in the mainstream media as if somebody else is doing it and they had no idea. So it's pretty interesting.
It is. And I'm not anti-American because I think the American people in general are very, very good people. But, sometimes our government is not representing what's going on in reality. A lot of people feel misrepresented. And, I definitely don't want my tax dollars being spent on all this, BS. And I think a lot of people feel that way too. But let's talk about, you said that mainstream media, doesn't want to focus on the positive. So let's do that here on this podcast and focus on the positive. What are some of the positives of cryptocurrency? You're an average person, you're using the bank, you don't have any issues with it. And you're like, okay, why would I switch to cryptocurrencies for some purchases? What's the benefit? Crypto Cayce, tell me.
Well, the biggest benefits in my mind are the ease of transactions and how quick they are and how cheap they are. You can send a transaction right now. I could be sending you a transaction in Bitcoin, and I can click the send button right now. In that exact instant that I click send, you see it appear in your wallet, and then it takes a little bit of time for these miners to confirm the validity of the transaction. But for all intents and purposes, it's instant. Additionally, there's minimal fees, whereas Visa is charging all of these companies to use their Visa cards and their services 2.5% per transaction on average. But Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, they're charging like fractions of a Bitcoin, like 0.001 of the coin of choice to send.
So who makes the service charge on the Bitcoin? Say, both you and I are trading pink coins or whatever, there's a service transaction fee. Who gets that fee?
The miners get that fee. That goes to the miners as incentive to secure and authenticate the network.
Got it. Okay, so you mentioned it going to my wallet. For those of you who are listening online who are totally new to cryptocurrency, when he means wallet, he's talking about an online wallet.
Well, online or on your computer or on your phone.
On your computer or on your phone, yeah. It's not, because in case you were like, wait, how does he send the Bitcoin? It gets in your wallet.
Yeah, so it's essentially a program. It's an executable program on your computer that is just stores the information of
it's an e-wallet, basically.
Yeah, an e-wallet essentially.
So do you think that these large corporations have an incentive once they start figuring out what is going on in the crypto world to actually bring down cryptocurrency? Is that a fear?
Corporations so much have an incentive to. I think the governments do. I think the corporations actually have an incentive to use cryptocurrency because of the savings that it has.
More companies are starting to accept Bitcoins and other coins.
Yeah, I think once MTGOX crashed and or got hacked and the price of Bitcoin crashed, and for those of you who are unaware, in like February of this year, the main exchange MTGOX, which was handling about 80% of the total transactions or sales on it was the biggest exchange of cryptocurrency in the world. I guess I'd equate it to the New York Stock Exchange, although I think it was doing much more volume than the New York Stock Exchange ever did relative to what it was trading. And so that exchange got hacked and it got taken down essentially, and the price of Bitcoin crashed to like $180 per when it was trading at about $800 per, $900 per. And within 24 hours, it rebounded to about $600 or $550 per Bitcoin. And so this all happened within a period of about 24 hours. It went from trading at a high to a low, then back to like pretty, like I guess 70% of the value that it had before. And so once that happened, a lot of these big players in the in financial markets, venture capitalists and such, started taking notice and started realizing, hey, this thing is a lot more resilient than I need to get a piece of this because of the scarcity of cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin specifically. There's only going to be 21 million of these things ever made, and right now, and currently in circulation, there's about 13 million. And so, due to the scarcity, due to the resiliency, due to the adoption of it, a lot of these big major players started paying attention and started buying into it. Like Andreessen Horowitz, one of the biggest venture capitalists in America, founded Coinbase, or wasn't the founder, but he invested substantial amounts of money into Coinbase, which is a large U.S. based exchange. The Winklevosses dumped hundreds of millions of dollars.
Huge advocates of altcoins. They're like, yeah. So
Massive.
for those of you who don't know, were supposedly the co-creators of Facebook. I don't know if you guys have seen the Facebook movie, but
Yeah.
but they were the ones who, I don't know, Zuckerberg supposedly stole the idea from, right?
Yep.
And they're huge venture guys and huge Bitcoin and altcoin supporters.
Yeah, so that they dumped like $100+ million into Bitcoin related businesses such as BitPay, which is essentially a retail third party retail application for merchants to accept Bitcoin and then get fiat money into their bank account. And so yeah, once this crash happened and the price bounced back, it got a lot of big money players interested. And so I think the smart money in the U.S., the smart younger generation of venture capitalists and people with money are realizing how beneficial it is to their everyday needs and how much money they could be making or saving, which is then making, because a penny saved is a penny earned. So yeah, once that happened,
Benjamin Franklin.
Right?
All right, I love it. I'm so excited about this, and I want to talk about Pinkcoin. So you are a developer with Pinkcoin, and what happened? Pinkcoin was created by someone else, and then he abandoned it.
Yeah. So what happens in the cryptocurrency space, especially altcoins, is there's a lot of people make coins for the sole purposes of essentially quick profit, and so Pinkcoin was essentially no different than that. There was this anonymous developer who went by the pseudonym Big Man on Bitcoin Talk forum. And for those of you unfamiliar, Bitcoin Talk, I think. Let me double check this. I don't want to misquote myself because I just type it in my browser and it always is the first thing that goes to it. Yeah,
auto-populates.
Yeah, bitcointalk.org. There it is. So bitcointalk.org is the main place where these altcoins get released. There's announcements about the impending release of a new coin. There's threads that are, I don't even know, hundreds of pages long that have information about these cryptocurrencies. And so this developer, Big Man, released Pinkcoin released an announcement about Pinkcoin on Bitcoin Talk in early May 2nd, I believe. And he released it. It was mined for about I think a week or 10 days was the mining period. So unlike Bitcoin, which is completely solely proof of work, POW, which means that the only way that coins can be created on the network is through mining, which is what you do in your bedroom and basement. Yeah. There's these new wave of crypto coins, altcoins that are hybrid, proof of work, proof of stake. So the first week or 2 weeks or month or year, however long this proof of work period is, the coin gets mined, and then once the coin stops being mined, the proof of work period ends. There's this whole another thing called proof of stake, where the only way new coins can be brought into the network or into existence is through staking, through keeping the coins in your wallet, and you get 1% interest or however much interest the coin defines. So with regards to Pinkcoin, it's a 1% annual interest compounded daily. And that's the only way new coins get brought into existence is by having the coins in your wallet, having your wallet open for a little bit a day, and mining these coins or minting these coins through staking. And
That's
so
awesome. That means you kind of like make money just having pink
printing
coins.
Money.
You're printing money.
Yeah, I like to think of it as that. And instead of having this high-powered, specialized, expensive computing unit that most miners are, you can actually just do it on your PC, your laptop, whatever device you have. And so it becomes this money printer that anybody can have accessible without having to spend a lot of money or have a lot of electricity usage. Because the current miners, they use electricity and they're pretty expensive. Like I don't know where you are, and I think you're in California, right? Which is probably the most expensive place in America for electricity costs.
It is. And my miner was a couple thousand. We bought one, and then my husband built the Litecoin miner from video cards. So
nice.
I don't know anything about that. That's way over my head. He's the techie guy.
Yeah, so essentially you're paying for the electricity usage to keep that miner running, whereas you already have your laptop open and your computer open, so you're not paying any additional electricity fees than you already would have just by browsing the
All right, I
internet.
gotta get some pink coins. You sold me.
Sweet. So and so this developer launched this coin, and then after the proof of work period ended, he dumped all of his coins on the market and kind of abandoned the project and was onto a new coin because
So
he
he was trying
saw
to turn and burn really quick.
exactly
Yeah.
kind of pump and dump, which never really did. And so myself and a few other people had invested in this coin and saw a tremendous opportunity with branding and partnerships with the National Breast Cancer Foundation and all sorts of other things. And me personally, I've been a fan of the color pink for years. I'm 29 years old now. I've been rocking pink since I was like 13. So
Awesome.
yeah, real men wear pink,
Real
right?
men wear pink.
There we go.
Jinx. Buy me a
And
pink coin.
so, oh, most definitely. And so we saw this potential, and we really didn't want to see this thing die because we really liked it. And so we got together, three of us at the time, myself, this person who went by the alias Some Guy, and then Sony was his Sony S, whose real names are Jeremy Reddenden and Sony Sassencan. And we got together. We created a new website, created a new logo. We added a bunch of features and added value to it, and relaunched it on a new announcement thread on Bitcoin Talk, and we just took it over.
So
And
what does that
actually,
mean you guys took it over? How does that happen? I'm
um,
understanding what happened with the original, creator developer, and then I'm hearing that you guys decided to take it over. What does that mean, take it over?
so the wallet files, they're everything essentially that a developer does with regards to the creation of these wallet files and the coins source codes and stuff are up on a website called GitHub, GITHUB, github.com. And so there was a repository that this original creator had, Big Man, for all these files, all of this information. And
Did you guys have to go and like get his permission, or you just could
no,
go in and?
we actually went in and copied all the files. Our new one of our developers, Some Guy, he had the wherewithal and the presence of mind to copy the entire GitHub repository from this
Oh, wow.
guy because and it actually was brilliant because around May 22nd, I think, this person, after he abandoned the project and we kind of took it over, he deleted his whole entire GitHub repository.
So that
And
was
so
perfect.
it's perfect. So we put it up ourselves again. We made a couple of changes to the source the source code of the wallet to ensure its integrity. Added a couple of nodes being the like authenticators, essentially just places, computers more or less that you can go to secure the integrity of the network that gets information passed through it to the rest of the wallet holders. And so we added some nodes, did a bunch of things to the wallet itself, and re-released it. And from there, we've kind of added developers, we've added people on board, and done a lot of things to add value and add features to the coin itself. Like I mentioned the National Breast Cancer Foundation. We went out and we started a campaign that runs through National Breast Cancer Month, which is October, to raise awareness and education through the National Breast Cancer Foundation. And it's a $20,000 campaign that we've had running for a few months now. And everything that we do through Pinkcoin, all the revenue generated, all the value added goes to support this campaign. And additionally, through this partnership and through this campaign, we have a lot of things that we've created to add value. So we have this Twitter lottery bot, which you can tip people, you can buy them lottery tickets, buy lottery tickets for yourself. You can play instant win poker hands, instant win rock paper scissors hands, and every time you purchase one of these things, 25% of all of the revenue generated goes to support this foundation. So we've already raised the equivalent of, I think, 600,000 Pinkcoin through this lottery bot, which at current value is like, I want to say like 300. I haven't checked the price of Bitcoin today. Probably like $350, and That's relative to the price of Bitcoin and relative to the price of Bitcoin, which obviously always is fluctuating because it's a volatile world. And so and so everything we're doing is to add value and to support these campaigns. And we were the first coin to implement anonymous sending. You can send your pink coin anonymously through the wallet as well as through a website. We have because I'm sure most of your listeners aren't aware of how the nature of how to send and receive Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, but essentially you get this really long, confusing 25 character alphanumeric
I
string
think it's longer
of
than
text.
that, right?
Yeah, it might
It
even be
looks
longer. I don't
really
know.
long.
It's really long, and it would be hell and impossible, nearly impossible to memorize this thing and type it out without an error. And any error you have in the address you're sending to will fuck up the transaction,
So
and
first of
we'll
all, the
go.
listeners should be aware of this code because if you go on outoftheboxpodcast.com, there's a button that says subscribe with Bitcoin, and you should click on it and see the extremely long code to put money in my wallet. So you guys should be aware of what he's talking about.
Yeah,
But if you're
and so
not,
yeah, go ahead and check it out and donate. And so and so what we've done is there's a lot of room for error. So generally what you have to do is you have to copy and paste this code, which for the older generation they may not know how to even copy and paste. And let's
but
be honest
Bitcoin
about
doesn't
that.
use that, right?
Yeah. So what we've done is we've created this ability to send through usernames and also through email addresses. So you can
That's
go
awesome.
to
That's a lot easier. More, it's kind of like PayPal, right?
Yep, and so we're the first coin, even Bitcoin. We're the first cryptocurrency, altcoin, anything to have this. And this was done by our developer Boxa, who's very talented. Who's also the person to integrate the anonymous sending feature into our wallet. And so what you can do is in our newest wallet release, there's a tab that says wallet.pink, which is actually a website, wallet.pink, where you can go to sign up for a username and link it to your email and link it to your pink coin address. And so instead of going to send from once you register for a username and link your email to your Pincoin address, you can then have people send your username from there on and never
And
have to
that's
worry about this
way
long confusing address.
easier. Yeah,
Way
than
easier.
this extremely long code with 20,000 hashtags and exclamations and numbers and weird
Yeah.
things.
And so that's our whole thing with Pincoin. Like we want ease of use. We want to make it as easy as possible and simple as possible for anybody and everybody to get involved, whether it be a 7-year-old child or a 90-year-old person, you know? So that's our whole goal. And that we've kind of been doing everything we can, catering to making that happen along like everything we're doing is making it simplicit, making it things simpler because we've kind of realized that a lot of people in this space, in this crypto space, they're catering to the tech nerds, like, and I use
Yes,
that word loosely, to fellow people that understand the in-depth ins and outs of it, and
they are. And
that's
that's why I wanted you to explain kind of the basics because I want more people getting into altcoins and cryptocurrency. Obviously, that helps me and you because the value of our coins is going to go up with the
mhm.
higher demand. But also because I want people to understand what it's about. And a lot of people don't. You know, even though I am an advocate for using cryptocurrencies and I'm a huge fan of them, you know, I'm still clueless to half the stuff that my husband talks about when he talks about cryptocurrency. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, he's talking about memory cards and mining and all this, and it goes over my head. But the thing is that, you know, you can be a quote unquote regular person, not a tech nerd, and use cryptocurrency effectively.
Oh, most definitely. Like there's so much out there in this space. There's so much information. There's so many different facets to it. And I mean, essentially, the cool thing about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and other altcoins is that it's not only something that you can use to purchase things. I mean, that's slowly being adopted. You can buy stuff with it, but it's a store of value. You can transfer value. It's an investment. You can use it to day trade. There's so many different facets to this world. I mean, there's mining. There's so many different avenues. You can stick to your one little. You can compartmentalize it into small different pieces, and you can stick to that one compartment, whether it be just buying and holding long term, or you can kind of branch out and realize that it's you can day trade it, or you can get into mining and secure the network while printing money essentially, or you can get into the retail space of it and buy stuff with it. There's so many
You
different
could tip
avenues.
your friends. You know, tipping
Yeah.
is a big, huge thing. I'm glad that you guys are, you know, developing an outlet where it's a lot easier to use because I think, like you said, a lot of, you know, cryptocurrency has been veiled in kind of tech speak and jargon, and it's not easy for the average person to understand. I had to do quite a bit of research just to get, on the basic level of understanding.
Yeah,
So,
and actually, I went and played the World Series of Poker main event this year. That's what I'm a professional poker player, so I travel and play some of these events. So I was playing the World Series main event, and I was wearing one of my pink coin T-shirts, and I was talking to people about cryptocurrencies, and I was shocked at how many people had heard of it, but had these like far-fetched misconceptions about
so
it,
let's talk
and
about that. Oh, that's great. So talk about some of the misconceptions that are out there, because I have heard so many right now, but I want to hear what you have heard.
yeah, and these are like intelligent people who are. I mean, most people that play the main event are either you're a professional poker player, which I'd say comprises maybe 40 to 50% of the field. You're an athlete or a celebrity, or you're some rich CEO or a executive of a company, or you're just some guy who won a satellite or wanted to play this, and your
So pretty
friends and family
intelligent
phoned it
people.
up. Yeah, for the most part. And so the things I would hear was like,
Let's hear top
um,
5 weirdest misconceptions about cryptocurrency.
I don't know I don't know about weirdest, but the top five misconceptions that I heard were, well, I thought the government took that down. I thought it was I thought it got hacked and that it was all shut down. That Bitcoin is gone and no longer around, no longer a thing.
So they
And
didn't understand that it was an exchange that
yeah,
got
they did
closed and not the actual currency.
exactly. And
Okay,
so
got it.
I had to explain that to them how it was just the one exchange got hacked and it was just like a temporary thing, and
Even
that
the
it still
language
lived
you're
on.
using, you're funny. I thought that got taken down. That very sentence shows a lack of understanding. Okay, second misconception.
I thought it was just used for drugs, and I thought the FBI went in and took care of that. Like,
So
oh,
it
you're
sounds
talking about
like
the
these
Silk
people are
Road.
hearing about crypto and thinking of it as a nuisance.
Exactly. Like they've been watching CNN and Fox News and just hearing the
The
stories
mainstream BS.
and not doing any research for themselves and just regurgitating that same shit. And
Okay.
one guy actually told me that he had a conversation with his friend for a while, and they both were on the same page because neither of them had done any research, and they were like, "Man, this Bitcoin thing was cool, but then it was all about drugs, and I got taken down. Man, I wish it would still be around." It's like, what are you talking about, man?
I'm sorry,
Like,
you're
all
making
right.
me laugh really hard. It's
Well,
all
it's
about
funny. I agree.
drugs. It's all guys. What do you think people use $100 bills for? Let's be honest. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are two more misconceptions just for fun?
Okay. Like people, I don't even know, man. Like, I guess a lot of people just really had a general misunderstanding that there was that it was finite. People thought like, oh, you can steal this stuff. Like, how am I to trust the network? Like,
Okay, so
how
let's
do I
talk
know
about
that
that
someone's not
because
going to steal that?
I have heard that a lot. I've heard people, because Mt. Gox was hacked. I've heard that misconception from a lot of people, and maybe you can explain it because I kind of don't understand it. A lot of people are afraid of having bitcoins or having alt currency and then having it stolen. Is that feasible? Is that delusional? What?
No, it's definitely feasible, but the only way that any of your cryptocurrencies can be hacked or stolen is through human error, through your own lack of securing them. So if you're one of these people that just that owns Bitcoin or altcoins and keeps them on your computer on a file and doesn't have any secure backups, there's no encryption at all, and you use the same email and passwords for everything.
Oh my god, you sound like
um,
my husband.
yeah, then you're very likely if somebody knows that you have these currencies, you're likely to be a target for hacking.
He
And
always
so
makes me make my password have like 10 weird signs and he's like $, hashtag, exclamation, capital
yeah,
R, lowercase. I'm like, no, I can't remember this. I just want to make all the same password. So
yeah,
don't do that.
yeah. If you can and you're capable and you're not and you can write it down like in some safe place, just make it as complex as you possibly can so that no one can ever brute force hack it. And when I say brute force hack, that's a technique that hackers use where they just run a program that just takes every single possible combination of words, and letters and characters, whatever, and runs it through the machine and tries to use every combination to hack the password.
Got
And
it. So
the
so
more
it can be stolen if someone is, not careful, basically.
yeah, but if you use a really complex password with alphanumeric and other characters and long, it takes like an exponentially greater period of time to be brute force hacked. I'm
But
not sure the exact details, but yeah, like if you use a complex long multi character whatever the fuck it is. It'll take like hundreds or
Symbols.
thousands of years. Yeah, symbols.
Okay,
That's the word I'm looking for.
let me make a clarification because you're saying, well, can it be hacked if you're not safe? But that could be said. I don't want to make that a specific cryptocurrency issue because with
Your
online
email.
banking, that could be said about if you have a Chase account.
Yeah, exactly. Because your Chase account's gonna be linked to your email. If your email password is, if somebody knows your email and they know you bank with Chase and they know your password or its password's the same or simple, they can get into your email and then access your Chase account and then spend
Do whatever.
shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So the issue that we're talking about is not a unique issue to cryptocurrency, which is something that I want to make a distinction about because I don't want
Yeah,
people being like, oh my God, it's dangerous. People can do that. Most people do online banking. I would say, that's a very common thing. And that can also be done with online banking. People can hack into your Chase, your Bank of America, your whatever, if you're not using these complicated passwords. So this is not a unique issue to cryptocurrency.
Yeah, most definitely not. This is something that across all financial industries, even PayPal is a giant concern. So it's the same industry struggles or same struggles as other financial industry and any industry has where there's a password associated with it. So what people can do is they can secure their coins offline. They can no longer keep them on their computer. They can keep them on a USB drive and delete their file from their computer and store it in a safe or store it in a safe place, unmarked that only you know where it is. There's paper wallets. There's all sorts of cold storage, as it's called. There's hot wallets and cold storage wallets. Hot wallets meaning that they're on your computer or online or accessible to people. Cold storage meaning that they're offline, they're secure, they're safe, and they're only able to be accessed by you, essentially. So there's all sorts of ways.
So you're still playing poker. You said you went to the you're still playing poker, just not online.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't been able to play online for a couple of years. I mean, I can travel and I can go to Canada or Mexico or any other country in the world, and I can play online on PokerStars and Full Tilt and the main sites. And I spent a little bit of January playing online in Canada, but yeah, for the most part, for all intents and purposes, I am retired.
Do you feel like okay, so we talked about, some of the positives, and I know a lot of companies are now starting to announce, which is a big thing for alt currency people, that they're starting to accept alt currencies. Is there any websites that show all the businesses that accept them, or that's not out yet?
I'm sure there are, but I'm not aware of them. Like, because there's new companies popping up every day. There's hundreds of them, thousands of them. Like, most recently, the biggest names that have popped up that are using crypto or Bitcoin are Overstock.com, Dell.com started accepting them. I think there's rumors that eBay is beginning to open up to the idea.
I'm surprised eBay isn't on the list already.
Yeah, well, they're tied into PayPal.
They have their PayPal. What is it? Monopoly.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they view it as a threat, and I think they've been viewing it as a threat for a year or two. And until recently, they've realized that they need to either adapt or die, and that's what a lot of companies are realizing. It's either adapt or die.
I kind of hope eBay dies, though, because I have a personal grudge against them.
All right.
Die, eBay, die. I don't like you. I think this is a side tangent, but I just don't like that they're very buyer focused and not a seller focused. I was an eBay seller for years and years and years and years. And even now they're allowing it, but when I was selling, they didn't even allow sellers to leave negative feedback. And sometimes I would have some psychotic buyers on there. There's crazy people online, and I was not allowed to leave these people negative feedback, and it just drove me nuts. And also they tend to focus more on buyer concerns and not seller concerns because that's just how their business model is. And the sellers, like me, who have been selling since 2002 on there, make the business. So that's my personal issue with them. So I hope they don't adapt to altcoin, and I hope they burn.
Well, they're actually like selling. Well, they're not adapting in terms of accepting, but as of like, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago, they started allowing you to sell miners and mining contracts and
stuff like that.
And also like Bitcoin, and Bitcoin and Dogecoin and all that shit. You can buy and sell all of it on there now.
Is it Dogecoin or is it Dogcoin or is it Dog?
That's the thing. I don't know.
Nobody knows, right?
Nobody knows. No one knows. It's like it's this mystery. It's an anomaly. Pandora's box.
I own a bunch of. I'm gonna call it Doggy Coin because there's a cute dog on it.
Yeah,
but
I like that one better.
It's crashed recently.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up. Is there a pattern of certain celebrities pushing certain coins and them going up and down without people doing research? What is the value of doing research on coins instead of just
Oh
because
man.
I noticed that it's up and down, up and down, up and down, and I don't know if it's because certain people are pushing it or not. Not
Well, yeah,
Dogecoin, but just altcoins.
yeah. There's this phenomenon that's not really industry specific. You kind of see in the stock market too that if any large player, anybody with a large following, kind of tweets about, and a lot of the altcoin, especially, information is on Twitter. It's on BitcoinTalk.org and on Twitter. And so Twitter is where you can see buyer sentiment. You can get advice from industry experts, whatever. So when one of these industry experts, and I use that term kind of loosely, pretty much an industry expert is anybody who has a large following on Twitter and people don't really do research on. So there's a guy who has like 10,000 followers and he's like, yo, buy this coin. And in his bio, he says like he's a cryptocurrency expert or enthusiast or trader, whatever it is. People don't even do research. They're like, oh shit, because the way these markets move is it's not like a lot of other markets industries. This shit's instant. Like this shit, a coin can go 10 or 20x its value in 10 or 15 minutes or 20 minutes and also on this like drop the same as quickly. And so people don't have time or don't feel like they have enough time to do the research and they panic buy and sell. And so you see these tremendous spikes in value and declines in value over really, really short periods of time just because people are dumb as fuck and they're not doing research. They're blindly listening to these
You
people who
heard
have a
it
large
here
following.
first on Out of the Box podcast. Crypto Cayce says people are dumb as fuck.
Just the people that are blindly listening without doing the research. I mean, that's how people get burned, and that's how a lot of these coins gain and lose so much value instantly. And
People do that
and
with
a lot
the
of
stock
people
market too. A lot of people
exactly.
will buy, whatever the talking head on MSNBC says buy or sell. That's what they're doing
And
instead of doing
Jim Cramer,
research.
yeah, exactly. Jim Cramer is a great example of that. And I loved when Jon Stewart kind of handed Jim Cramer his ass on the Daily Show and had Jim Cramer borderline in tears because he was calling him out for his shit. Like he really encourages people to buy stocks based on hype and his excitement about them. When in reality, what he's doing is he's getting all of these big wigs behind the scenes, getting them out of their bags, like allowing people to buy into it and taking the stocks off their hands. And that's what you're seeing a lot on Twitter also, is when people are tweeting to buy something, there's generally a reason for it. It's not like they have any intrinsic value or they're benefiting at all. It's generally because they want the price to get to a certain level where they can exit their position.
Yeah. So do your research. That is key, people. If you're going to
Yes.
invest in cryptocurrencies, do your research, or like me, marry someone who does his research.
Yeah, I mean, and there's certain people out there. There are definitely a few people out there who I wouldn't say trust wholeheartedly, but you can they're out there for the good of the industry. They're not out there to make money off of you, to really kind of exploit people's
or
ability to
if you want
research.
to if you want to follow someone who maybe has a lot of money in crypto and is vested in it to succeed in general,
Mhm.
then maybe you should follow, their advice instead of someone who's just, like you said, turn and burn or in the market short term. But people who have vested interest in the infrastructure and for the actual entire system to succeed, and like you said, have an altruistic reason for promoting certain coins.
Yeah, and there are people like that out there. There aren't as many of them as there are of the pump and dumpers, but there are definitely some people out there who have your best interest and have the industry's best interest at heart.
Well, I definitely hear that you have a lot of passion for Pinkcoin and a lot of passion for cryptocurrency, and I'm really excited to have had you on. What's the website for Pinkcoin? How can people find out more information? What are some of the good resources?
Okay, so what we've done with Pinkcoin is we don't have any .com domains. We have a .pink domain. So about a month and a half.
Oh my God, I love that.
2.5 months ago, the top level domain of .pink was released, and we quickly discovered it and swooped up a lot of these domains. So our main website is crypto.pink, crypto.pink.
That's awesome.
And
And we will have a link on the website as well.
sweet. And so from there, you can find a lot of information out about us on the links on the site. At the bottom of the site, there's a link to our fundraiser, a link to our announcement thread, which is titled Forum. There's a link to our lottery, lottery.pink for more information. So yeah, there's a lot of resources there.
And sign up to get a username so that you don't have to do this 25 character wallet.
Yeah, wallet.pink is that one. And that's actually in the latest release of our wallet. So if you go to crypto.pink, go to wallets and download the wallet, you can just do it all from within the wallet itself. And also Twitter, like I mentioned, is the best resource by far for cryptocurrency related things. Follow us on at pink coin with the underscore at the end. Somebody already had at pink coin, so we had to throw in an underscore at the
What?
end. Yeah, it's somebody with a private user, and they only have like 6 tweets and 7
You're like, can
followers or
you
something.
please give me
I,
at Pinkcoin?
I've tweeted them about 100 times to hook it up,
You know
but
what? I
they
will
just
tweet
ignore
at them
us.
too, and all the listeners, if you're listening to this and you're a crypto fan, tweet at Pinkcoin and tell them to give it up to Crypto Cayce.
I'm pretty sure they just like fell off the face of the earth and like just abandoned it. So it's out there. Hopefully we can take it over one day. But until then, we have at pinkcoin underscore. I'm Crypto Cayce, Cayce, which is my name on there is Pink Prophet, which is an allusion alluding to Edgar Cayce, who was a prophet in the early 1900s, who had I don't know like 15,000 predictions and that he had written down that have of which like 12,000 have come true. So I
Oh,
made
that's
Crypto
awesome.
Cayce, and I'm the Pink Prophet. So you can follow me for a lot of information. Um, yeah. So
Well, before we wrap up, what do you see for Pinkcoin in the future? What are the goals that you see for cryptocurrency in general, and what you're a prophet, you're the Pink Prophet, so give us some knowledge for people who are thinking on the fence about investing in cryptocurrency. Where is the future going?
well, the future. Well, right now, all the alt currencies are tied to Bitcoin. You have to have Bitcoin first to get into the cryptocurrency game, and that's a result of legislation and money transmission issues. And a lot of these exchanges don't want to deal with them, don't want to deal with the paperwork or the legalities, so they just have Bitcoin pairing, so that way you're trading property to property and not property to currency. And so, in order for, or not in order for it, but I think the future is going to be once for altcoins, especially that once they no longer are tied to Bitcoin, and once some of these exchanges start offering USD pairings to trade altcoins with, you'll start to see them take off and be given the true value that they deserve. With regards to crypto as a whole, I see it only going up from here. I mean, all these things have there's scarcity. There's only a finite amount of these coins that'll ever exist. And with the scarcity, it's a supply and demand thing. If there's a limited supply and demand's high, the price is obviously going to rise. And so I see long-term value being tremendous in the cryptocurrency space, and I see it as a very viable alternative to banking systems. If you have any sort of qualms or bad experience with banking systems, I would encourage you to do your research and look to cryptocurrencies as a way to not necessarily get completely out, but to have a backup, to have a fallback.
I would say
Um,
cryptocurrency is kind of the new age gold, because a lot
yeah,
of people, the old school, like my mom and stuff, she was afraid of the banking system collapsing and the dollar revaluing, and she would buy gold, which I think is a great alternative as well. But I would say that the younger generation is focusing more on cryptocurrency. So for guys and gals out there, if you're worried about the devaluation of the dollar, if you're concerned about these banking issues and Wall Street and all these other issues, yeah, maybe put some money in alt currency and just as a safety. But I would call it kind of like the new age gold.
yeah, for sure. And the new age gold, and also the internet boom, like
Yeah,
how
internet.
you could just buy domains in like the early 90s, and within a year they'd be worth like 100 times their value. That's kind of what I feel like cryptocurrencies are like. You can just buy and hold, and over a 2-year period, you just put them away somewhere, and 2 years later, you look at them like, oh shit, I'm rich, not necessarily that, but like very close to it. And so I feel like it's a large opportunity for a lot of people to kind of have autonomy and control, and also a lot of value of their assets and their resources.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on Out of the Box. Is there anything else you'd like to promote or say about cryptocurrency or pink coins in general?
I would just like to encourage everyone out there to seriously do the research, and don't get intimidated. And if you need help, ask one of these industry experts or myself on Twitter. I'd be happy to help, and I'm sure a lot of these guys are very happy to help too, because we want people to get in the industry. We want new faces and new users, because the more we can disperse this great information and get more people using cryptocurrencies, the better it is for the industry as a whole, and also for our society. So I would encourage everyone to, at least after they listen to this, go check out some of these resources. Find out more about Bitcoin as a whole. CoinDesk.com is a really good resource for Bitcoin, for people getting into the game. They have a lot of news on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, as well as like a beginner's guide to what it is and how to get involved, and ask some questions. Don't just sit on the sidelines and feel intimidated. We're trying to make it user friendly, but it's not 100% there yet. It'll get there, but in the meantime, please do some research and don't get intimidated and ask some questions.
That's awesome. And I think you've done a really, really good job of explaining it to simpletons like me.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Guys, this has been Out of the Box Podcast with Rosie Tran. Out of the Box Podcast is sponsored by hugmetees.com. Spread love, give a hug, hugmetees.com. Don't forget to go on soundcloud.com/outoftheboxpodcast and click on the follow button. We're also, as always, on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. Follow us, subscribe, and leave positive comments. We love it so much. This has been Out of the Box Podcast with Rosie Tran.